Hey, Eleni here, and today we're back with a new episode. This is actually the second episode I've uploaded today, so a nice double upload day for you. So, as you will have already guessed by the title, we are going to build a mini adventure map today. Um, I say that it's not going to do the entire thing in today's episode, it's going to be a little series. And today is just going to be part one. So, an adventure map is something I've thought on and off about for a long time building, but even though this one is going to be a smaller one than what you'd maybe usually come across, it's still quite a big undertaking, especially when this is definitely going to be like the biggest thing I have ever built in Minecraft. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't bite off more than I could chew. So the idea for this map is essentially what it's going to be is you come across this abandoned, ruined town. Now, originally, this town was quite prosperous. It was quite a small town, but it was quite prosperous, full of life. But something's happened to it, and you don't know what. And that's part of the adventure is you're going to figure out what has happened to this place. Now, my method of building things that are supposed to be ruined is I will build it up properly first, and then I will go and ruin it after. I can't just build ruined stuff from the get-go. So that's how we're going to be going about it. So when you're building something as big as this, you definitely want to have a plan going in. So how much you plan is really up to you, but you definitely want some sort of basic plan at the least. So obviously, like I said, it's going to be like a small ruined town. Something's happened to it. Don't know what. So definitely going to be lots of trees, and stuff like that. So the block palette is going to be like a lot of stone bricks, cobblestone, a lot of spruce and dark oak. It's going to be the block palette for the most part. It's definitely not an easy thing. I was definitely a bit nervous going into it. As I said before, it's the first time I've ever built anything this big. Even though, as far as adventure maps go, or certainly the ones I've played, it's actually really small. And it's mainly just me. My sister, Dragonflies, has been helping me out with a few bits and bobs, but it's mainly just me. And especially at first, it was a lot of work and quite time consuming. I couldn't get world edit on Bedrock. I did come across one that said it should work on Bedrock, however it didn't, and I was thinking I'm going to have to build so much stuff from scratch. However, I got reminded of something that had been added into the game that I totally forgot existed, and that was structure blocks. And oh, I was so relieved. I had to watch a tutorial on how to use them, but it definitely saved a lot of time, because it is going to be a walled town, and not having to build all the walls from scratch, because while they're not overly detailed, I didn't really see the point in going over the top with too much detail and making them look too pretty, with the fact that I'm going to be going back in and ruining them. But each wall section is sizable. It takes a good 20 minutes to build, and I think altogether there's about 28 wall sections. So you're still talking a couple of hours just building the walls and nothing else, and I really didn't fancy doing that, so that was really handy. So if you haven't already been able to tell, this entire video has been voiced over. It's just a lot easier. I tried to do some audio recording while I was playing, but I was just too busy concentrating trying to work out what I wanted to do that I just kept going silent, and I was like, I'm just better doing the audio after, which is what I'm doing. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to get some good angles here, because like I said, I was originally trying to talk through the video. So if any of you want to like build your own adventure map, obviously I am no expert, but I can give you some tips as to what helped me when I was doing it. And that was just, as I said earlier, have at the very least a basic idea of what you want to do and the size. Overestimate the time it is going to take you, because even in creative mode, even with structure blocks, it does take longer than you think. Also, when playing with structure blocks, is play around with the structure blocks a bit first away from where you're actually building, because obviously when I was doing the wall sections, as I got to different bits, I'd have to rotate them and stuff, and just making sure they were rotating the right way and things were going to line up right. So things like that. Also, your block palette. For your block palette, between 3 and 5 blocks for the most part is all you want. There are exceptions. Sometimes you can get away with more, but it doesn't happen very often, and if you use more, it can end up just looking like a total mess, especially if you start mixing in a lot of different colours. I definitely keep a bit of a grayscale here, which I find as well for a lot of these types of builds, it works better. Like, it's supposed to be a ruined town, it being bright and colourful, it just wouldn't really work very well. So I'm just having a little look around. Obviously it's a flat world, so it doesn't really matter too much where you start building. I decided to build in a flat world because I figured for it being like my first time taking on a project like this, it would make it a bit easier on me in the long run. Especially because I could do it in a normal world, but I would just have to spend so much time clearing areas and setting up the world just in preparation for me to start building. Whereas in a flat world, obviously I save a lot of time not having to clear any of the area at all. However, obviously in flat worlds you have a lot less ground underneath to work with, so if you wanted to do caves and things like that, you're going to have to do some terraforming. But as you can see in the video, I've started building what's going to be one section of the wall. So the wall is mainly made up of the stone brick, and as you can see now, I'm just adding some bits of detail in, because I didn't just want it to all be stone brick. Like, yes, some of it's going to be getting ruined a bit after, but you know, I still want it to look nice even though it's ruined. Like, this was the home of a very proud people before it got destroyed, so like the stuff before it got destroyed looked very good, if I do say so myself. The other reason I decided to build on a flat world, other than just not having to do a whole bunch of terraforming, is I just felt it would be a bit easier overall. So as you can see in the video, we've added some of the wooden pillars. I absolutely love the dark oak. As you can see there, I was just marking the center and then doing some little pillars with the stone brick walls? No, cobblestone walls. And then also using some of the chiseled stone brick as a bit of decoration up the edges there. So what you see now is pretty much what each section of the wall is going to look like. There will be more detailing up on top, but that will come later on. And now I'm just doing the same to the other side, because the other side is going to be exactly the same. Obviously, as you can tell, the wall is quite thick because there is going to be a pathway going along the top edge. Originally I wasn't sure if I was going to do a pathway, but then when you go through and play through the adventure map, it is actually going to take you up there as well. Like, if you're wanting to do a mini adventure map, you need to make the space you're using as functional as possible, because you want people to have fun while playing it. And yes, while you don't want it to take an overly long time, hence mini, you still want there to be a bit of a story, and you're not going to get much in a story that only has one small house. Now, you could obviously do a bit of a story, it's not impossible, but you're going to have to spend a lot of time working with what you've got to make it work. So I still wanted to have a bit of room to play about, and as you can see here now, I've got onto the second wall. I had not discovered the structure blocks yet, unfortunately. All we really do for the rest of this episode is build the walls. It's going to be more in the next episode. We're going to get into more of the detailing, some of the outside and possibly some of the inside as well. Inside might not be until the third episode. So yeah, I think altogether there's probably going to be at least 5 episodes altogether. So as you can tell from this episode, none of the episodes are going to be that long. They're all going to range between the 10-15 minute mark, because all I'm really doing is a lot of building, and you don't need to watch me build walls for 20-30 minutes.